Guys, we're going down.
Sam.
And at the end of the day, I was CEO of FTX. And that means whatever happened, wherever it happened, I had a duty. I had a duty to all of our stakeholders, to our customers, our creditors. I had a duty to our employees, to our investors, and to the regulators in the world to do right by them, to make sure the right things happened at the company. And clearly, I didn't do a good job of that. Clearly, I made a lot of mistakes or things I would give anything to be able to do over again. I didn't ever try to commit fraud on anyone.
Sam Bankman-Fried's trial is coming up in September. Currently, he is on house arrest at his parents' house in California. Do you think that Sam Bankman-Fried actually committed fraud, or was the downfall of FTX due to bad risk management? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. In today's clip, we'll be checking out exactly why Sam Bankman-Fried believes he is innocent. He believes he did not commit fraud. He was not trying to steal anybody's money. He explains all of that in today's clip, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this in the comment section below. The trial is going to be coming up here later this year. You probably won't hear the results of this for years to come because you guys know how slow the law system works over here in the US. But I wanted you guys to check out this clip. Very interesting. This is from an interview he did a couple months back. So let's go ahead and check it out here.
And as I try and reconstruct this, over the last month, I have limited access to data, but my view of it, from what I have been able to see, is roughly that, basically, look, a year ago, Alameda had, I think, something like 10% leverage. Had something like 10 times the assets of the position that it had on. Over the course of the last year, there were a number of market crashes that drove the value of those assets down and the leverage up. I think it was, to my knowledge, still under 2x leverage, as of a month ago. You look at what happened this month, and in a few days, all out, PR assault, which led to a total market collapse in a pretty short period of time, no bid side liquidity. I think more than $10 billion wiped off in the matter of days. And realistically speaking, no ability for FTX to be able to liquidate that position and generate everything that was owed from it.
So we can see there certain factors caused FTX to basically implode. And to anybody that holds any of their crypto on exchanges, Coinbase, KuCoin, Binance, any exchange, guys, you should take that off of exchanges, put it in cold storage, because you don't know if that company is going to go bankrupt in the future, and you could lose all of your money in crypto. And also, if you have any of your money at the bank, you can see right here, U.S. banks used to have to hold 10% of customers' deposits. In March of 2020, the U.S. banking system switched to no requirement for any percent of cash to be held. Banks can invest your assets, lend your assets, and again, hold 0% of the money you deposit. But that does sound a lot like what FTX is doing, just taking your money and just making money off of the money you put into the bank, guys. So just be very careful with your money in banks, and especially these crypto exchanges. You can see something like what happened in 2008 when banks went bankrupt. We just saw Silicon Valley Bank, one of the biggest banks in the U.S., go bankrupt. So it's definitely not out of the cards. Be careful, guys. Not your keys. Not crypto regulation. Gary Gensler has been very outspoken that he believes basically all cryptos are securities. So there's been some little speculation going on. Don't know if this is true, but we do know that SBF went to MIT, and a lot of people are saying that, hey, Gary Gensler was SBF's professor at MIT. And how is all this connected? You have Glenn Ellison, who is Carolyn Ellison's father. He was actually Gary Gensler's old boss at MIT. And Carolyn Ellison is Sam Bankman-Fried's ex-girlfriend that was the CEO of Alameda. So is there some commingling going on around these four? They are very close, and it would be interesting to see if something does come out in the future about these four. But just some speculation. I wanted to share that with you guys. Let's go ahead and see what else SBF has to say about himself being in.
Was there commingling of funds? That's what it appears like. It appears
I
like
never
there's been a genuine commingling of the funds that are of FTX customers that were not supposed to be commingled with your separate firm.
I didn't knowingly commingle funds. And again, one piece of this, you have the margin trading. You have, customers borrowing from each other. Alameda is one of those. I was frankly surprised by how big Alameda's position was, which points to another failure of oversight on my part, and failure to appoint someone to be chiefly in charge of that. But I wasn't trying to commingle funds.
Let me ask you this. The Wall Street Journal reported that Carolyn Ellison told Alameda staffers that Alameda used FTX client funds to cover loans that were being recalled because of the Luna-triggered credit crunch. Carolyn says that she, Sam, Gary were aware of this. How do you square that with what you originally said over Twitter, that this was an $8 billion accounting mistake?
So I'll point to two things. And first of all, obviously, I don't know what anyone else is thinking here. I can only talk about it from what I know, from what I knew. And a lot of this is reconstructing it over the last month. I have limited access to data. But what it seems like happened is in the middle of the year, a lot of, most of the borrow lending desks in the space blew out or closed down. And it seems like Alameda had, margin positions opened with them, and that it likely moved a bunch of that over to FTX this year when they shut down. And that means, I think it was over collateralized positions, but positions that involve substantial size and substantial US dollar size on the borrow side. In terms of the accounting mistake, again, looking through what happened, I think that there is a substantial discrepancy between what the financials were, what the audited financials were, the true financials, what the exchange understood. All of that was consistent, versus what the dashboards that we had displayed for Alameda's account there, which substantially under-displayed the size of that position. And so that's one of the reasons that I was surprised when we dug into everything at how big that position had become.
But would you would agree that there is a much more closely connected version of FTX International and Alameda than previously understood? Fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, given the size of the position, I think it was, if not in intention, it was in effect tied together substantially more than I would have ever wanted it to be.